every show, DK.
Okay. Welcome to Garden of the Spirit, a class studying apples from the orchard for the second time, beginning after Pesach 2014. This class meets in Long Meadow, Massachusetts, the center of the universe, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas Moshe, Margaret Vogel of blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. And this is our first class after Pesach of 2022. And I don't remember exactly the date that we started in 2012.
It was in May.
What?
It was in May.
Okay. Or how soon after Pesach it was?
It was like 4 weeks after Pesach.
Okay. Okay. Is it okay if I consider after Pesach the next year?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So we're now beginning our 9th year.
Wow.
Now,
Oh, wow.
we've completed 8 years. So we've completed 8 years, beginning our 9th year, and we finished the book for the first time after 6 years in 2020. And yeah, we finished it a month after the beginning of Pesach, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
We finished it 4 weeks after the beginning of Pesach. So that's what we're holding. So now it's another milestone.
Mitzvah Hashem, there'll be a third round.
I'm looking forward to it. It will be easier because I have my notes already.
There you go.
Either I will edit the notes then, or I'll edit the notes, or I'll edit them before that, or have someone else edit it.
Or by then you will have written your book on it, right?
This is the book.
Or we just watch the video.
You just watch the video.
Like my students do. They're watching last year's video.
All right.
But charge this year's price.
Of course.
Well, very appropriate. We just finished Pesach.
Okay. Yes. Boils. I think this is where we stopped.
Yes.
The gematria of boils, shechin, is 360. First of all, so the plagues, not the plagues, each of the plagues obviously is coming to oppose or to negate the kalipas of Egypt. So each of these are from holiness. They're all from Malchus. Over here, he just refers to them as Nukva of Atzilus. So it's Malchus and sub-Sephiras within Malchus. We've had a lot of regressive iteration where we count let's say a name of Hashem. The first letter is counted 4 times, the second letter is counted 3 times, the third letter is counted twice, and the last letter is counted once. And either sometimes, often, or always, I'm not sure, but it shows something lessening or weakening. And apparently here it's in order to weaken the klipa of Egypt. It's not written. It's my impression. Could be wrong on it. So now boils, the gematria of boils, shechin, is 368. This plague is from the sub-sephira of Gvura within Malchus. So with the shechin is 368, and it's the 6th plague. How are we going to get to 368? So first of all, since the plague comes from Gvura, so the gematria of Gevura is 216. Gevura means strength, And in terms of the spheres, we either translate it as, as judgment or severity. And they are, for our purposes, they are interchangeable. After the subsphere of Gvura are 5 more sub-sephiras. Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchus. Each of these comprise 10 sub-sephiras for a total of 50. Next, we'll take the expanded spelling of the first 3 names of Havaya. The first 3 names are 72, 63, and 45. Okay, 52, while being more than 45, is actually the 4th. And we take the expanded spelling, but we do not include the primary spelling or the root letters. Let me write that. Not including the root letters, which means we drop first letter, the letters of Hashem's name, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, we drop off. In other words, subtracting 26 from each one. Everyone got that? Hashem's name, Havaya, is 26. So we're taking the expanded spelling, but then we're removing the root letters. Removing 26. And we're left with 46, 37, and 19, which equal 102. So we now have 216, the gematria of Gvura, 50, the sub-sephiras of the 5 sub-sephiras, and 102, which is the total of the first 3 names Havaya without the root letters, which equal 368, the same as Shechin boils. Okay. Gershon, would you like to start? 295?
Yeah, my question is,
Yes.
obviously, you know my opinion. It seems a little contrived. Now, passing the contrivedness, what's the message? What's the metaphor that boils come from the subsphere of Gebura of Malchus, correct? Is that correct? Is that what? Yeah, Gebura of Malchus.
What we're going to see, it's a good question.
Okay. Oh,
So
no,
the first thing is, it's easy to get lost and to forget this. But when we make connections here, every connection through gematria, there is a connection independent of gematria.
yeah.
We might not see it, we might not know it, it might not make sense to us. We've had so much here that we just have to accept what it says. And
Yeah.
okay, that's
why,
what it is.
That's why we read the book.
So
Luria we trust.
Yeah, so there are connections. There are connections, and whether it's explained, whether it's not explained, whether it's we just have to accept it, and it is just often it's expressed through gematria. Just think if he can if he's able to bring these numbers together, then I'm sure there would be explanations for why we have it in this way. The gematria of 216 of Gvura, plus we have to take the sub-sephiras and so on and so forth. It's way beyond us. I do want to add, what we're going to find is that each of the plagues came from a different sphera. They actually came from all 10 spheres in ascending order, starting from the lowest to the sphera, or the lowest sub-sphera, to the highest sub-sphera. And which means that Egypt was hit with the full spectrum of holiness of the spheres within Malchus.
Within Malchus. Good. Plague number 6, boils. This plague issued from the Gebura of the holy feminine principle. Now, The numerical value of Gebura is 216. From Gebura on down to Malchus are manifest 5 more sub-sephiros, each compounded of 10 sub-sephiros, giving a total of 50 sub-sephiros. 216 plus 50 equals 266. When 102 is added to this number, we have 368, the numerical value of the word for boils, shechin. 102 is the sum of the numerical values of the 3 spellings out of the 3 names Havaya, whose total numerical values are 72, 63, and 45, these being 46, 37, and 19 respectively. Did I miss something? No. Okay, good. Because it
My
doesn't
explanation was more
correct.
straightforward.
I know, you know.
Well, I'm not, he's translating.
Okay.
I'm not
okay.
translating, so I have the freedom to
explain it.
to rearrange the information.
For
Read
what
one
we're,
more sentence as
For what we're thankful.
Just one more sentence.
Good. These being 46, 37, and 19 respectively. 46 plus 37 plus 19 equals 102.
Okay, stop there.
All right.
Next, number 13. These 3 names Havaya, without the primary letters that equal 102, represent the states of judgment that extend to Klipos.
Which is weird, right? Havaya is the masculine
Okay.
and judgment would be the feminine. So Havaya can represent judgment.
Havaya, judgment, I don't think is regular judgment of Gvura is not necessarily feminine. There are judgments, Malchus, which is predominantly Gvura judgment, is feminine. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about about your question. Okay. So, but it extends. That means that I guess maybe that's where its nourishment comes from. So 102 equals, this is parenthetically. I think this is parenthetical here. 102 equals kuf vav, which reads as kav. Oh, sorry. I goofed. It's kav, which has several meanings. It does not mean a line. It's a different spelling.
Oh.
Okay. For one thing, it's a measure of volume, or more commonly, it's a measure of volume of 24 eggs, or around 1.5 quarts. Quart is 32 ounces. So this is, say, 40 to 50 quarts, 40, 50 ounces. And secondly, in one instance, it means a crutch or an artificial leg. The Arizal explains the 102 states of judgment that extend to Klipos in relation to the passage in the Mishnah of Shabbos that says a person with an artificial leg may go outside on Shabbos with his prosthesis. So being over there, that it uses the word kav, the artificial leg, or a crutch, and it speaks about, and the gematria is 102, and that 102 corresponds to the states of judgment. So the Arizal uses, explains this more in depth over there, or to be more accurate, Rabbi Chaim Vital, who wrote all this, uses that to give the Arizal's explanations. There's another one of these two. Parenthetically, they don't use that word much. Uh-oh.
I think it's P-A-R-E. There you go.
Parentheses.
Okay.
It's like a artificial leg that's sticking out into klipa. Trying to.
Is this the same kind of kav that's being defined here as the kav? That's
No, different spelling.
different spelling. Okay.
Good question. Okay. Okay, Gershon, that's the next part. So continue. They signify.
They signify the states of judgment that extends to the realm of evil, as we have explained elsewhere, which is, it's kind. In our explanation of the passage of the Mishnah that begins, the stump-legged person can go out with his stump in Shabbos. So Gebura, Gimel, Beis, Bab, Resh, Hey, 3 plus 2 plus 6 plus 200 plus 5, 216, and Shechin, Shin, Het, Yud, Nan, 300 plus 8 plus 10 plus 50, 368. As we have learned previously, there are 4 principal ways in which the name Havaya is spelled out, based on how we spell out the letters He and Bab, which produce 4 separate numerical values. The first 3 of these are 72, 63, and 45. When we consider only the letters used in the process of spelling out the milieu, we have chart, and therefore we got 46, 37, and 19, which are without the first letters, correct?
Correct, exactly.
So the passage of the Mishnah, which cited, states that the person with the stump leg is allowed to walk, Geleven, I don't know what the Gavai says, is allowed to walk in the public domain on the Shabbos, and this is not considered carrying for him, which would be forbidden. The numerical value of the word stump, kav, is 102. Should I
Okay.
continue? Yeah.
No. Okay, so in the plague of boils, these states of judgment from Gevura of Malchus struck Netzach of Ze'er Anpin of Klipa. In each of these cases, what I've picked up, I don't know if I noticed this last time, is that the plague comes from the holiness of Nukva of Malchus, the 10th Sphira. And it strikes Egypt in Ze'er Anpin of Klipa. Remember, Ze'er Anpin are the 6 central spheras, that are masculine from Chesed through Yesod of Klipa. So from the holiness, the plague comes from holiness of Malchus, the feminine aspect, component, and it's striking Egypt in the male component in Ze'er Anpin at different subspheres within each one, with Malchus and with Ze'er Anpin. Okay, and you can do that next line, Gershon, on 296. As
stated, these states of judgment issued from the Gevura of the holy Nukba and smote in the Netza of the evil Zerampin.
All right. 15. Now, there's another way to get 368. Remember, 368 is Shechin boils.
Mm-hmm.
There's another way to get 368. The letter Shin of Shechin boils stands for the 300 states of severity. First of all, the gematria of Shin is 300. And secondly, the Shin has 3 branches, signifying 300. We had this, I think when we, at the beginning of the book, if I remember, about creation. The name Havaya, so that gives us 300. The name Havaya of 52, which corresponds to Malchus, and 4 letters of the name Adni, Hashem's name, Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, plus the 12 letters of expanded spelling of Adni, are Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud, and each of those has 3 letters. Gives 300 for the Shin, 52 for the name Havaya, 4 for the letters of Adni, and 12 for expanded spelling. And what do you know? It gives us 368. One moment. Yeah, go ahead, Gershon, you can read.
As for these states of judgment, the Shin of the Shechin signifies the 300 states of judgment and severity. To this, add the numerical value of the name Havaya, spelled out to equal 52. That means with the letter Hey, plus the number of letters of the name Atni, 4, and the number of letters used to spell it out, 12. This gives 368, the numerical value of the word boils. According to Rabbi Shalom Sharabi, the 300 states of severity are the 3 sephiros on the left axis of the sephira tree, Bina, Gebura, and Chod. Each subdivided into 10 sub-sephirot, which themselves are then subdivided into 100 sub-sephirot, giving 300. So there are 3, and each one has 10, and 10 has 10, so good, 300. The name Havaya spelled out to equal 52. Yud, Bab, Dal, Hey, Hey, Bab, Bab, Hey, Hey, 52. The name Adni is spelled out with 12 letters, and that gives us 300 plus 52 plus 4 plus 12, 368. Just what Chaim said. That is the end of the 6th plague.
All right.
So there was no explicit connection from boils to
what?
to the contrived way of getting 368, or the least contrived way to get 368.
The only real connection that we have is that it comes from Gevura, and Gevura is 216, which is the beginning, of the reaching 368. It's the base, the foundation.
So I don't know how we get, maybe we shouldn't know, how we get the connection to Klippa, correct? Because we're it goes from Malchus goes to Netza, correct? Netza of Zerampin, so which is on the other side, which is the masculine side. So I don't know how it goes from one to the other, because I have my little drawing, correct? So it's okay. So
I'm not following. What's the question? Try to do it again.
Because we think, or we know that there is a way to fit the evil side, correct? I guess we do Averas or whatever, and that fits the evil side. So I don't know how, if we go from the Gebura of Malchus, how do we connect to the Netza of Zerampin? So I was trying to have a meaning. So boils, I guess, is something that's superficial on the skin of the people, and so I was trying to make a connection, because there is a connection between, I thought, what the Egyptians did to us and the boils that the punishment they are getting. I thought there was something like that, which I can't remember on top of my head, but
he doesn't. I don't think he does that much.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we came across it all. If you look on 299,
yeah,
there's
one more.
Chart.
Yes, the plague. Okay. So where is the plague and where it's hitting on the Klippa side? Okay, we'll look into that.
Okay,
we'll get there. So
if you look at the chart, you see where it comes from within Nukva, the subsphera, and it goes up from bottom to up. Malchus, Yesod, Hod,
that makes sense,
and so on, all the way up to Keter. Where does it attack in Ze'er Ampin of Klippa? The first one attacks in Keser, then in the brains, skull hair, No, it's like, and then it also goes ascending. It goes from Yesod, Hod, Netzach, Tiferes, Kavur, Chesed, and then Keser. Keser, Chachma, and Bin, all three together. But exactly what's the correlation? I don't know. Okay.
All right. Feel better now.
Next. 16. Hail. Number 7. The gematria of Hail Barad is 206. The regressive iteration of the name Elokim, which means the Aleph is 5 times, the second letter Lamed 30 is 4 times, the third letter is 5 is 3 times, the fourth letter is 2 times, and the last letter is once, gives us 200. We have had this a number of times. Okay, we're at 200. Add 5 for the 5 letters of Elokim, and 1 for the Kolel. We have 206. Okay, Gershon, go ahead. Hail.
All right. Number 7, Hail. The numerical value of the regressive iteration of the name Elohim is 200. You should have said as seen before. Adding to this number of letters in the name Elohim, 5 plus the Kolel gives 206. This is the numerical value of the word for Hail, Barad. Need to clean my glasses. Barad, base, resh, dalet, 2 plus 200 plus 4, 206.
Okay. Oh, one moment. I'm putting together the minion here.
Oh,
I have that already. Okay. One more thing. Okay, let's do this. The Torah says the hail had fireballs inside. This plague came from Chesed of Malchus because water is associated with Chesed, but it also contained fire, which comes from Gvura. So it's like it contains Gvura. And it struck Tiferes of Zerampin of Klippa. Okay, that's 297 at the top.
Yeah, this plague issued from the Hesed of the Holy Feminine principle, for hail is made of water, which derives from the unexpresses Hesed. But it was commingled with flaming fire originating in Gebura. It smote the Tiferes of the evil Zerampin. The end.
Okay. Next, 18. Locust. The gematria of locust Arba is 208. There are 5 letters in Elokim, 13 letters in the secondary expanded spelling, and 34 letters in tertiary expanded spelling, for a total of 52. 5 plus 13 plus 34 is 52. The Hebrew letters of 52 is Beis, Nun, Ben, or son. If one son is 52, 4 sons are 208, also known as 4 sons of Elokim. I don't know what this refers to.
Well,
Sons of Vaera.
there you go.
Over there, it doesn't, correct. We're going to talk about that. It doesn't say 4 sons of Elokim.
We know.
Right.
When I was a kid, I don't know if any of you remember, there were Menorah Records put out a Passover record. And the songs are stuck in my head. I was looked for it a couple weeks ago on YouTube. I couldn't find the recording. 4 sons are we, we're one family. Okay.
The Rebbe said everything we see gets stuck in our head, so we have to be careful. So yes,
Well, at least this is good.
Now I see that's true.
Oh yeah, this is going back 50 years. 2 are from Chachma and 2 are from Bina, whatever that means.
Remind me, Elohim is the one with more severity than the other name of Hashem.
Yes, Elokim is severity. It is the regulator that regulates and withholds the light of Havaya.
Mhm.
And definitely Elohim is associated with its structure. Might be the best word for it.
Mhm.
Okay, Abigail, would you like to continue? 297 locusts.
Excuse me. Locusts. This plague manifests 4 names, Elohim spelled out. The name spelled out in 2 iterations uses 52 letters. These 4 spellings out are called the 4 sons of God. There are 2 that originate in Chachma and 2 that originate in Bina. Their combined number of letters is the same as that of the word for locust, arba. These locusts were an impure species, signifying strict judgment, as opposed to the pure species of locusts permitted by the Torah. The Torah spoke of 4 sons. These are the 4 names Havaya spelled out with the letter He. The name Elohim, Aleph Lamed He Yud Mem, spelled out twice, and it goes through the Aleph Lamed He Yud Mem. As we see, the name itself is 5 letters. The first iteration uses 13 letters, and the second iteration uses 34 letters. 5 plus 13 plus 34 equals 52. This number is the numerical value of the word for son, Bain, Beit Nun, Bain plus Beit plus Nun equals 2 plus 50. Thus, the double spelling out of the name Elohim is, so to speak, the son of Elohim. 4 times 52 equals 208. Arbe, Aleph Resh Beit He equals 1 plus 200 plus 2 plus 5 equals 208. As we have seen, the numerical value of the name Havaya when spelled out with the letter He is also 52. This spelling out of the name can thus be considered a son of Havaya. Since the name Elohim signifies judgment, the sons of this name are the forbidden non-kosher locusts. The 4 sons of Havaya are the kosher species of locusts.
Okay, I have that here. The Torah permits, thank you. The Torah permits eating certain species of locust. Those are from holiness. The plague of locusts were a non-kosher species, which are associated with judgment.
Yep.
Which is associated with judgment. The Agada says the Torah speaks about 4 sons. These are 4 names Havaya with expanded spelling using the letter He, which equals 52 or Bain, son. Okay, you just read that. I'm sorry. And it says here, that the 4 sons are from the subsphere of Bina within Malchus of holiness and struck the subsphere of Gvura within Zerampin of Klippa. Okay, go ahead, Abigail.
They issue from the Bina of the holy feminine principle and smote the Gevura of the evil Zeranpin.
Okay, next we have darkness. Okay, that's where we go. The gematria of darkness, Choshech, is 328. Ches Shin Chaf. There are 320 states of judgment. And I think, and Rudy looked this up last class. I think it was last week. I'm sorry, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Which in Egypt are especially powerful. There are 5 states of mercy that sweeten the 320 states of judgment, which gives us 325. The 5 states of mercy are represented by the 5 times the word or, light, appears on the first day of creation. This light shone for the Israelites during the days of darkness. The letter Aleph actually represents 3 Alephs, and I don't understand how. I looked in the Hebrew text, and I don't see it. Since the gematria of Aleph is 1, we now have 3 more for a total of 328, the same as Choshech, darkness.
Could it be that an Aleph is 3 segments?
Could be.
You have Yud Vav Yud Vav Yud.
A Yud on top, Yud on the bottom, and a Vav in between, a diagonal in between.
26.
Could be. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I thought maybe the word or is written 3 times somewhere, or I don't know. Or like you say, it could be the 3 segments of the Vav, the 3 parts. Okay, go ahead, Abigail.
Darkness. This is alluded to by the well-known 325 states of judgment, which we explained elsewhere. These states of judgment are the 320 powerful sparks, the states of judgment of the Egyptians. The additional 5 are actually states of mercy that sweeten the said 320 states of judgment, this giving a total of 325. These 5 states of mercy were the light that shone for Israel during the days of the Egyptian darkness, as it is written, and there was light for all the children of Israel in their habitations. And thus light is mentioned 5 times in Torah's description of the first day of creation. The aleph of the word for light alludes to the 3 alephs that complete the calculation to 328, the numerical value of the word for darkness, Hoshech. Hoshech. Hoshech is het shin haf, 8 plus 300 plus 20 equals 328.
Okay, and go ahead to the next one.
It will be recalled that in the plague of frogs, the 320 states of judgment operated without any such mitigation from the 5 states of mercy.
Okay, so we did have the 320 by the frogs. And Rudy looked up to see what the significance was, and I don't remember where we got this 320. Okay, 22. Now, this is a little bit like what Rudy said. The letter Aleph is made of a diagonal line with a point above and a point below. If the diagonal line is split down its length, it becomes 2 letters Vav, with a Yud above and a Yud below. Yud is 10, Vav is 6, 2 of each gives us 32. 10, 10, 6, and 6. 32 are the pathways of wisdom, which is Abba, what we call Chachma. And the 32 pathways of wisdom are comprised of the 22 letters plus the 10 spheres. It's not important for here. The 320 states of judgment mentioned before are corrected through thought and Abba.
Thought
Okay.
and Abba.
Okay, go ahead, Abigail. 298 at the bottom.
The 3 necessary to bring the calculation from 325 to 328 are derived from the letter Aleph when graphically split into 2 down the middle of its middle stroke. When drawn this way, the Aleph splits into 2 combinations of the letters Yud and Vav. The combined numerical value of these 4 letters is 32, corresponding to the 32 pathways of wisdom, i.e. Abba. As is known, the 320 states of judgment are rectified through thought, i.e. Abba. The split Aleph, Yud, Vav, Vav, Yud, 10 plus 6 plus 6 plus 10 equals 32.
Okay. And it says these states of judgment come from the subsphere of Chachma, of Malchus, of holiness, and struck subsphere Chesed of Vaera of Kupa. And you can read that. You could read it in the text, Abigail.
These states of judgment issued from the Chachma of the feminine principle and smote the Chesed of the evil Zeranpin.
Okay, next. 24. Death of the firstborn. This plague comes from Keser of Malchus and struck the top 3 subspheres of Zeranpin of Klipa. The first three subspheres are Keser, Chachma, and Bina. Over here, they call it Rashis Chachma. Gershon, here you go to your contrived thing again. Rashis Chachma, I think, is chapter 112 or 111 of Tehillim, which is the beginning of Chachma, of wisdom. Yiras Hashem is fear of God. The fear of God is a prerequisite for wisdom. So it says Rashis Chachma, beginning of Chachma. So Chachma gets this little title of Rashis. And it's very convenient for us because the initials of Keser, Rashis Chachma, and Bina are Kuf, Resh, Bet. I'm sorry, not Kuf. Are Kaf. Are Kaf, Resh, and Bet, letters of Bechor, firstborn. Okay. And so this is the letters of firstborn. Not done. And since the Zohar, this is also parenthetical, like we had before. Parenthetical.
Good morning.
The Zohar connects the first three spheres, Eser, Rashis Chachma, and Bina, with bless, Barech, same letters, and the river Kvar, Nahar Kvar. This river is where the Jewish people settled in Babylon and where the prophet Yechezkel received prophecy. It is a man-made river that extends from Euphrates for some purpose that they needed to what's it called, to bring the water to somewhere further away. So they there's a man-made river there called Nahar Kavor. So it's also the same letters, Kaf, Beis, Resh. Ezekiel says, first, it happened in the 30th year of the 4th month. On the 5th of the month, I was standing among the exile by the river Kvar. The heavens open, I saw visions of God. I saw, behold, there was a stormy wind coming from the north, a great cloud, flashing fire, brilliant, surrounding it from its midst, the color of chashmal, from the midst of the fire. Rudy, you can have a field day with this prophecy and Kvar. This is where the prophecy, the line of, I think the line Baruch, Kivod Hashem Kamo comes from here, and then the fact that we know that there are three klipas is also from this, the stormy wind, and so on. So, anyways, that is the vision of Yechezkel, and then it's mentioned again another few times. Okay, so Abigail continued, killing of the firstborn.
Killing the firstborn. This plague issued from the Keter of the holy Nukva and smote the three highest sub-sephiros of the evil Zeranpin. The initials of these three sephiros, Keter, Reshit, Chachma, Bina, spell the word for firstborn, Bechor. This is similar to what is explained in the Zohar regarding the word for blessed, Baruch, and the name of the river Kevar. Chachma is referred to as Reshit Chachma, beginning of wisdom, based on Psalm 111:10. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. Also, Chachma is the first conscious sephira and is therefore known as the beginning. In summary, the plagues, number one, the blood was from smiting the sub-sephiro, came from Malchus of Holy Nukva, and smited Keter of Nukva. The frogs came from Yesod and went smited smoked the brains of Nukva. Lice came from Hod and smote the skull hair of Nukva and Malchus of Zeranpin. 4, horde. What's horde? Is that
wild animals?
the
Maybe.
animals dying?
Yes.
Came from Netzach, and it smote Yesod of Zeranpin. Pestilence came from Tiferes, and it smote Hod of Zeranpin. Boils came from Gevura, and smote Netzach of Zeranpin. Hail came from Chesed, and smote Tiferes of Zeranpin. Locusts, non-kosher locusts, came from Bina, and smote Gevura of Zeranpin. Darkness from Chachma, and smote Chesed of Zeranpin. And the death of the firstborn born from Keter, and smote Keter Chachma Bina of Zeranpin. If we
And-
consider,
You go ahead.
if we consider all of this, we see here yet another overturning of Victorian stereotypes.
Oh,
Here
yes,
the-
I was going to say with that, this last 2 paragraphs, Abigail, might be worth everything that you're looking for to come to this class. And this is not my aisle. That's not my specialty. So go ahead and read here.
Okay, so if we consider all of this, we see here yet another overturning of Victorian stereotypes. Here, the female is the attacking warrior, and she attacks not only her opposing female principal, but also and chiefly the evil male. In this tour de force of feminine power, Nukva seems to be mustering all her possible sources of divine energy based on various combinations of divine names. Thus, we see why the 10 plagues, first of all, had to be 10, and secondly, why they took the specific forms they did. Each plague expressed a different combination of divine power channeled by Nukva to destroy its evil opponents. According to how we have defined the male and female components of consciousness previously, this makes sense. If the female is the drive to concretize divinity in the world, it should specifically be the female that gets incensed over the forces that oppose this drive, namely evil. Like I.
But that's what Amber was trying to do.
Yes. Amber was definitely the powerful
Wait.
force.
Wait. You don't know what you just said.
Don't drag it down.
Okay.
So it does make sense that if the world is about making a home in the lowest of places.
Okay. So
About
Rudy,
the
before you came on and before the recording started, they were talking about the trial with Amber, the one that's been in the news. But
I haven't heard.
you don't know what you just said. And this is what I thought you were referring to. I mentioned that this is mentioned at least second. The river Kvar is mentioned, I think, 4 times in the book of Yechezkel, or 3 times, or 3 or 4 times in the book of Yechezkel. Yechezkel says that the visions came to him at the river Kvar. The first vision, as I mentioned, is known as the Merkava, the heavenly chariot. He talks about the Ophanim and the angels like this and so on, and what they look like. They're the throne, the chair had 4 sides, with an ox, a human, an eagle, and
Bull.
what?
A bull? I forget.
An ox, a human.
Sure, yes, an
Yeah.
ox.
Lion. There's no lion.
And a not lion. Did you say lion?
Yeah.
Yes, and a
Sorry.
lion. A visage of these things. And it's in great detail. There's a lot there. And then later in chapter 3, he says, Baruch Kavod Hashem Komo. And that's where that comes from. So, and also this is called in Hebrew, it's called the Masa Merkava. It's the way they call it the heavenly chariot, but Merkava means like the throne. And Merkava is the root of Merkava is Reish Chaf Beis, the letters of Kvar, the river Kvar, the same letters. But one of the things that it talks there about something called chashmal.
Mhm.
And it says that it was the color of chashmal.
Yeah.
Now, it's not clear what this chashmal is. Most places don't translate it. They just, authentic places, they don't translate. They just write the word chashmal, the color of chashmal. In I think it's in the Talmud and Chagiga. It says that chashmal comes from two words. Chash means quiet or soft, silent, and mal means mutterings. So that's not a color, but it has two dichotomous. I love using that word. Two dichotomous traits: silence and mutterings and speech. And this is chashmal. For whatever reason, I think non-Jewish sources translate chashmal as amber, the color of amber.
That's
And
funny.
actually, the way I know that is because I read it
Yes.
came across something here that they refer to it as amber, the color of amber. So I looked up amber, I guess is hardened sap
Yes.
from a tree. I always thought amber was the color amber. The burnt orange.
It's a caramel, yeah.
Huh?
Caramel color. It's
Isn't it a burnt orange?
yellowish, yeah.
It's like goldish brownish.
Yeah. Honey.
And so anyways, it's the color of, and if I'm not mistaken, amber has electric properties.
Yeah, the
correct,
word electricity
Dr. Ullman?
comes from it, yeah.
It has electric properties. Now, I happened to be looking at years ago, I looked at one of the kids' books in the library here, and they knew of this thing of electricity for hundreds of years, if not more.
That's where the name electric or electricity comes from.
So the word electricity comes from, Electra is the Latin name for amber.
There you go.
So that's where the word electricity comes from.
Yeah, that's all Greek to me.
And that's how, like I say, non-Jewish sources translate chashmal as amber. Now, so in Hebrew today, for electricity, they use the word chashmal. Going on for full circle.
Yep.
So in Hebrew, they translate chashmal. They use chashmal to mean electric.
Chashmal was the throne, or
it says it was the color of chashmal.
It could be golden.
Apparently, we don't know.
Yeah, so I like these studies.
We don't know or it doesn't necessarily have to be the color of chashmal. It could also be the appearance of chashmal. Here in the article, they translate the color of chashmal, and on the bottom, let's see if it says anything helpful.
So it could be translucent, because amber is
the word chashmal is laden with mystical connotations that are beyond our comprehension. It's the name of an angel whose semblance was seen in the midst of the fire. It sometimes stands silent and at times speaks, like I mentioned before, the praises of Hashem, and that is, yes, Chagiga. The above explanation is a contraction of the word chash and mal. It is proper to be silent of its implications. They are beyond human comprehension. In other words, chashmal, don't even try to figure it out. Alternatively, it's an elusive essence of color similar to the essence of the flame of a fire. And in modern Hebrew, it's the word for electricity, but this is a corrupted use of the sanctity of the phenomenon. So when you said amber, I right away connected what I had just looked up here in the with the word chashmal.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So he's saying
best.
that it's unexpected that the feminine would be the one that's attacking the evil in Egypt. And if you look at the Sephiros, sometimes they're in a line and sometimes they're side by side. So if they're side by side, you would say you'd expect the male, right, to be the aggressor. But if they're in a line, wouldn't the feminine be at the bottom of the line? And it makes sense that what's at the bottom attacks what's directly below it. Is that too simple?
Malchus is at the bottom. When they're lined up, Malchus is at the bottom.
So if it's at the bottom of
or the left, correct?
Yes.
Malchus
Not
is at
that
the
I have
bottom.
my answer. So I guess the assumption I'm making is that somehow underneath that that you can take that concept of Hystalschalus as a chain, and you can put evil at the bottom of it, below the lowest of holy. I guess that's why I'm thinking.
Explain the question. I have a thought, but I want to make sure I understand your question.
I'm just wondering if this feminine that attacks the evil was the next door neighbor to the evil because it's at the lowest level.
Think of it this way. We have two parallel spheres. One of them is holiness, one of them is klipa. The plague comes from holiness. It's attacking the klipa of Egypt and trying to negate it, transform it, destroy it, however you want to say that. Okay? The for whatever reason that I don't know, the klipas of Egypt are all within the male aspect called Zeranpin.
Right.
Okay, the holiness that's attacking are all from Malchus, that from where the holiness that the plague comes from are all in Malchus, which it happens to be the female component, which is the lowest. Yes, it is the lowest of the 10.
And the
last
most
of the 10.
And the most associated with Klipa, with Yesh.
With what?
With other and Klipa and Yesh and all the concepts of evil.
I'm not sure about that.
That's as we go down the Hystalschalus, we go from Ayin at the top to the ultimate Yesh at the bottom. And
not necessarily like that.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily like that, especially not within one. This is within one structure. Within Atzilus, we have a 10-step process. So you have to think of all 10 as like as one entity with different parts of the process.
Right.
And the last one was Malchus. Malchus is really where everything coalesces. We did say many times how they coalesce in Yesod, the 9th. That's the last of the male spheres.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're all coalescing in Malchus. They're all gathering in Malchus.
But Malchus is going to be, if you can say this, the least holy. I mean, and we're talking at Silus, but it's the lowest level because it's got the greatest sense of self and other and all those things that are used by Klipa. I mean,
I'm not sure about that. If we ever come across it, remind me.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about that.
It's the connection. You're giving it a value, but maybe because it's at the bottom, it's connected to the other side. And so it went from, again, so it started in Keter of Nukba, and then it went up to the Keter of Zerampin on the Klipa side. So let's go back to this. So it went from the bottom of Nukba to the top, correct? And then it went from the bottom on the Klipa side. It went from the bottom to the top of Zerampin from the first. So it makes some sense ranking wise. It went from here there.
So I'm not sure if we talk so much about within the 10 that it goes down. It's more like a process than being farther. But we do say that Malchus has the function of Malchus is to take everything, is to take the entire thing and then to transmit it to the next world. And then since I'm sure you've heard this, that Malchus has a direct line to the Keser, which is the very beginning, because it performs this the same function or a similar function. It acts as the Keser for the next level down.
Or sideways.
Okay, I do have to go for Mincha.
Yes.
So thank you all. Great class.
Everyone.
Class.
Have a good week.
Be well.
Okay. Yep.
Boom, boom.
And watch for the time for next week.